And then when you guys are ready to get things going, then go live is going to be hit over here. Or, it's already.
Well, it's going
I think it's started. So, what you want to do is you want to disable auto start, but we can do that for the next stream.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah. Well, so now we are. This is the B-roll part.
This is the B-roll part.
This is the B-roll part. This is the before. This is the in between. The gap there.
We don't have any. We don't have any additional lights or anything.
I can bring you guys some lights, and then you can get things set up if you want.
We have time?
What's our time, Keith?
We've got 4 minutes. Check, check. 1, 2, check.
Check, check. 1,
1,
2.
2.
Yep. I'm about to hit this off because, like I said, we're going to go live in 4 minutes. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to go live. I don't want to miss the live broadcast throughout our network, our area, online, on cable and stuff like that. Because this is a podcast, but I also have a live stream going to the local networks, to Verizon, not Verizon, Spectrum, and what's the other one? Frontier, not Verizon, and Comcast. We have the engineer here, and he still says
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Come on, all right, man, go ahead. We got real Rav here. We got Mr. Rav in this place. He gets everything popping, making sure.
What are we talking about today?
Well, there's a few things. There's a few things. One of them is how not to break things. Not to break things because I don't want to be blamed for it. It was on your time, guy.
Oh, you put a light behind me too?
All see the light. Hey, that looks a little better. My shirt stands out. Oh, cool. Hey, what the hell is that?
Oh, I need to look at the
screen.
screen.
I got 2 minutes here, so this is 2 minutes duration. I got another 1 minute 56 seconds before I go live. Live.
Live.
Like I said, this is a work in progress.
No, it's not a work in progress.
Not in progress?
No.
It's a work, we've already got past that point?
We've got past
that point. Hey! Applause, please. Applause. Give me applause.
Oh, applause.
Loud. Yes. We got past that. All right, we're good. So yeah, we're here. We're in the studio, the podcast studio. We're working on things. The show's going to be about. I'm going to restate this anyway. So I'm actually. How do you say?
Where'd my time go?
I don't know, but I got my time.
What time you got?
My time, I got 5:58.
Okay.
So everybody who's sticking with us right now. I'm glad you're with us. Some people say, hey, you know what, you need to stop the bantering at the beginning and just go straight into the straight thing. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, somebody said that.
Yeah, somebody told me that. I was like, okay, cool. Somebody actually look at the show. Good. I got 11 subscribers, so I want y'all people to subscribe.
Okay, we've got 5:59 and 23 seconds. So
5:59 and 22 seconds. So let's do. Okay, that's 37 seconds.
yeah. Oh, can you hit record? I got it. 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. We're good. So now we're about to hook it up. We're doing what we have to do, but the show's going to be about something good. We always make it about good. And
15 seconds.
We're going to be building this up. My next show, I'm going to actually have some extra stuff.
And in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is live. This is Abby Keith. This is the B-roll. We're rocking from the TVCN, and I hope everybody can hear me clearly because somebody was telling me this weekend, hey, you need to talk up and be more clear. So what are you talking about?
Somebody said that?
Yes. Oh, it was over dinner.
Oh,
We were talking dinner.
somebody's watching then.
Somebody, oh yeah,
Somebody's
we
listening.
sit right across from each other. They had to watch like my little sister. Like, geez, you're brutal here. You're brutal. Exactly. I should have had. I think one of these sound effect things with me. Like I was saying, right? In the house, we got Big John C. You got me, Ivy Keith. That's Big John C right there. That's my main man right there.
I wonder if we're on the air.
I hope we were. I hope we were there. Come on, man. Y'all be like messing me up here. You throw me whole off track. Anyway, let's talk about something more positive, like what the show's going to be about. We're going to talk about the showdown that's looming in the House of Representatives. You know, the Republicans, they finally got a Speaker of the House, and he's like a wacky-doodle. This guy's a wacky-doodle. They said, how are you going to go? He said, well, just pick up the Bible. I said, whoa, what the heck? No pun intended, but what the hell did you just say?
Wait, what was the question?
They said, well, how are you going to govern? He said, oh, well, just pick up the Bible if you really want to know how I'm going to govern.
Well, I don't think that was the exact quote. Yeah. It was the Bible was referenced.
No, it wasn't referenced. He said he directed attention to the Bible. And because he's the guy that's leading this Christian nationalism. He's one of the main leaders and also one of the main, he was one of the main lawyers, one of the leading representatives to support, that was supporting the insurrection. Yeah. He was the one that said, federal law, no, that's not an insurrection or whatever he said. And, and Donald Trump is still president and blah, 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 blah. This guy is a nut job because John was actually this guy may be as bad as Jim Jordan, but he's a little smarter than Jim Jordan, so I'm okay. Because Jim Jordan was a putz. The guy he was a general putz. I mean, at least this what's his name? Mike Johnson. Michael Johnson. Is it Johnson? Johnson, right? Michael Johnson, right? Okay, Michael Johnson, the 56th House Speaker, right? That's historical. So he was like the last man standing. That's basically what it was. You had Scalise and you had a couple other people, and they like dropped out. I guess it was pressure from the 91 indicted four time indicted 91 felon charges on that guy Donald Trump, right? Who's right now sitting in the New York court system, New York City. Even though down the line he's got New York State federal charges against him too. Okay, so he's really got to be careful what he was saying. But anyway, back to Mike Johnson. He has Donald Trump's approval, stamp of approval, which means that, you know what, the guy's a nut job. He's a nut job. He's a cult member. He's a do or die. He's a true do or die person. True do or die, right? But anyway, I deviate. He's one of the Christian nationalism, right? But like I was saying, that's part of this show. We're going to talk about Christian nationalism, Donald Trump, 91 indictments, the Bill Moyer, Elon Musk, George Soros. We're going to critique a little bit on that, talk a little bit on that. Oh, and they got a big race going on in Kentucky, the governor's race, with Beshear and Cameron, right? I think Cameron was the Attorney General, Kentucky Attorney General. He was the one that said Breonna, tried to dismiss the Breonna. What's her name? Breonna. Murder case against the individuals who killed her. Was it Breonna?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, he was somebody. He's a diehard clown. Can I say clown? Clown. Yeah, he's a clown. He's a joke. He's one of the conservatives. He believes that this nation should be thrown back 200 years, which is not good for me or good for him. He just don't know it. He just don't know it. Look at Tim Scott. Tim Scott, he was the man. He's the black guy just standing out there. Yeah. All of a sudden.
Oh, we have that sound effect.
Yeah. Give me that sound. Tim Scott was the black guy who thought he was the man, and see what happened? He was like, you got that sound?
No, yeah.
You want me to say the sound?
Yeah. We used to have it. It's in a different setting now.
Okay,
sorry.
we'll work that out.
Yeah.
Well, he crashed, right? And then you got the other guy that the only black co-defendant in Georgia right? The one that was left in there for like 2 months after everybody else. I mean, everybody else they were paroled like, friggin', what do you call it? Not paroled, when they release you, bailed out. They were bailed out within a few days. He was in there for like a month or whatever, 2 months. He just got out. So he realized that, hold up, I'm black. There is a multi-tier justice system. I mean, there's literally a multi-tier justice system, but they want to take it back 200 years, 150 years, and it's like, dude, it's different, all right? It's different. Just because you're doing good, okay, and don't get me wrong, I want to be clear about this. Don't get me wrong, because I'm going to talk about a little bit about Democrat and politics and Republicans. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Republicans in general. When I say in general, I mean like moderate Republicans. The same Republicans who actually fought in the Civil War. Those Republicans, the real Lincoln Republicans, those moderates, not conservatives, mind you. It was not conservatives. So whenever you hear the word conservative, it should bring chills down your spine. It really should. Conservative, because conservatism is not good for this country. I've said it before. I've been saying it for decades, literally for decades, that conservatism is not good for this country. They mix conservatism with moderatism. The Republicans used to be moderate. It used to be a moderate party. But these rhinos, these Republicans in name only, the conservatives, have jacked the party. You talk about the liberals jacking the Democratic Party. Well, the Northern Democratic branch has been liberal, the majority liberal since the beginning, since the Republican Party, since the Republicans and the Democrats split. The North has been liberal, and I say this, and I'm gonna say it again: the North is liberal, and the South was conservative. It was two factions of the same party.
So you're saying that there's two extremes now?
Well, there's always been two extremes. If you want to call liberalism an extreme, yeah, there's always been two extremes, because conservatism is an extreme. That's what they are. They were against the nation from the very beginning. Conservatives. They were the ones who led us into the Civil War. Conservatives. It wasn't moderate Republicans. It wasn't Democrats. It wasn't liberal Democrats. It wasn't moderate Democrats. It was conservative Democrats. That's who it was. Conservatives in the South, liberals in the North. That's not because I said it. That's just a historical fact. That's how it was. So when somebody say conservatism, I think, wow, okay, they hate this nation. They do hate the nation. They don't hate what they can get from the nation. They just hate the nation, because the Constitution is the body of the nation. It's the foundation of the nation, and they hate the Constitution and most of the amendments in the Constitution. If they had their way, they'll go back to the articles, the articles of the Confederacy. That's what they would like to go to, where there's no taxes and there's no amendments that says black folk shouldn't be walking around here thinking that they're equal. There's no women's rights. There's no Bill of Rights. There's nothing but a bunch of laws, right? A bunch of laws. That's it. That's it. There's no regulations. There's no nothing. There's no IRS. There's no Social Security. There's no Medicare. There's none of that stuff.
Is that what the Confederacy was all about?
The Confederacy, the Articles of Confederation, we can go over there. What they lacked was a tax base for a country. That's what the article they lacked. It had nothing to do with taxes in there. It was just articles saying, okay, these
it wasn't very well organized.
It wasn't very well. It wasn't a terrible document, but it wasn't a great document. It was like the Constitution is predicated or based on 7 articles. The rest of the stuff, the meat, the body, the rest of it, the veins and the blood and all that other stuff that makes up our laws our constitutional laws today are predicated in the amendments. That's what the rest of it comes from the amendments.
Okay.
Right. So Conservatives didn't want that, and don't want that. If you look at and I'll go back to when they stopped the transatlantic slave trade in 1806 or somewhere, 1810, I forget exact time. The what do you call those guys? The conservatives had a problem with that. They did, but then you know what they did? They started breeding camps or breeding houses. You know, they start breeding slaves right here, black folk, in camps, in buildings. In Virginia, Virginia's known for it, but you're going to tell me that it didn't happen in the rest of the states, in the southern states? Sorry, you can't sell me on that BS. You just can't sell me on that, all right? But Virginia was known for that. They had slave houses where they would breed, they would literally breed slaves, black folk, like animals.
What year is this? Now this is post Civil War.
No, this is post revolution.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Post Revolutionary War. Post is before or after?
Post is after.
Okay, it's before the Civil War.
Before the Civil. Okay,
Before
well
the
that makes
Civil
sense.
War.
Okay,
Right,
yeah.
before the Civil War. Okay.
They wouldn't be able to do it after.
Right, yeah. Well, they would have had they won. had what's his name? Lee.
General Lee.
General Lee had won, and who was the president? Oh man, Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
Was he the president? Because he's on our $20 bill. I think he was the president.
$3 bill.
No, the $20 bill.
Oh,
See. You just feeding fodder to the fire. Civil War presidents, because we had two presidents, right?
Abraham Lincoln.
And the South had theirs.
Oh.
Remember, there were two presidents.
Right.
James Buchanan, Civil War president.
Now you're making me look.
I kid you not. There were two presidents.
No, I believe you.
I kid you not. Civil War, the Confederate president. Okay, let me pretend the Confederate president. People. Confederate.
Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis.
He was elected president of the Confederate States.
Okay.
In 1861.
All right. Had that guy won? That's who we would have had.
He won as far as the Confederates were.
Yeah. As soon as it was over, as soon as the war was over, he was gone.
Right.
And most of those people, and that Civil War is actually known for, is why we have the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, Section 3, insurrection. Because the people who took part in that, those Congress people, those politicians that took part in that, that's what it was about. To keep them out of positions of power. I mean, they're coming in now, the conservatives, again, because they were conservatives, and now the conservatives are doing it again. They're literally doing it. They're literally coming in again. That's why you get the Marjorie Taylor Greens, you get the Jim Jordans, you get the what's his name, McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy. You get all these guys. The Scalise. You get the this guy, the Mike Johnson. You get all these guys. These are conservatives. They're conservatives. That's what conservatives are. They hate. I tell people they hate our nation.
What do the conservatives say? And they certainly don't say that.
No, they don't. They say we love it, and the Democrats hate it. The liberals hate it, which is a lie. The whole preamble is about making our nation better for everyone. You know, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to bring all the people in together, but they hate that. I mean, that's where you got the white nationalism from, and so on and so forth. You got from the Civil War. After the Civil War, during the Reconstruction period, they were slaughtering people. They were slaughtering the politicians. Texas, believe it or not, I believe Texas had elected like about 8 to 12 congressmen during the Reconstruction period. They just killed them. they killed him. They pulled him out. They killed him. Murdered him, slaughtered him. And also Texas, believe it or not, also produced the first African American senator. United States senator came from Texas. Yeah. That's crazy, right? Yeah. Think about that. But the Republican Party, like I said in the beginning, the Republican Party, I have nothing against Republicans when they're talking being moderate and common sense, having some actual decency about them, because these so-called conservatives have no decency about them. They don't care about anything except for themselves. As long as they're doing good, that's the way they see it, they're willing to go along with it. They're willing to go along with anything that make them look good. And in order for for them to look good, what I mean is that you got to have the have and the have-nots. Like Florida. Florida's becoming a have and a have-not state. They're talking about how Florida the population has been booming over the past 4 to 5 years. 4 to 5 years? Yeah. It's been booming. But they're not telling you that a large amount of the people who are coming here are leaving here. You got people coming in and people leaving. Why? Because they come down here, it's a whole different life. It's the money value it doesn't carry. You know, you might be making over in that state, you might be making $60,000. You come down here, that same job, you $30,000 if you're lucky.
It's changing though a little bit.
It's changing a little bit, but not that much. That's like a cultural shock when you lose that much. And I know because I was in that position. I came down here. When I came down here, I left from the job in New York. I was making nearly $60,000. I came down here. I got a pay cut back down to like, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk about it. It was less than $20,000. Less than $20,000.
That's not uncommon.
From nearly $60,000 to less than $20,000. That's crazy. That was absolutely crazy. And that's how it is. A lot of people are coming here and they're not doing their research. Had I did my research, really did my research and made sure that before I made that transition, fully made that transition, that I had something here, but the way it was built, like, yeah, there's jobs over here, but it was like, and I make this comment, and I know a lot of people, it's going to offend some people, but it was like, I had to have a green card to get a job. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? And people say, well, that's kind of racist. And I'm saying that's the reality. That's the reality. If you go right now, I know I'm going off the subject matter that I was talking about, but if you go right now, to any construction site, you're going to see, when it comes to making all these subdivisions, the billions and billions of dollars that they are spending to build these subdivisions, these housing complex, like in what's this thing, in the Temple Terry area, downtown Florida, throughout Orlando, and along the route, Winter Garden. You see who's working, who's doing that labor. It's not, you don't see like black and white like it used to be back 25, 30 years ago. You don't see it like that. You don't.
What do you see?
You see mostly people who are Hispanic look more from South American. This is just a fact. This is just a fact. If you look, if you go and you look at a lot of the what do you call it thing, the construction workers on the highways and stuff like that, if at a certain time you'll see some Americans, right? But then at a different time you'll see very few. Very few. It's like, hold up. Over here you have South American looking, south of the border, right? And you have white, black, but then there are other places you'll go where you see.
You mean like different parts of Florida?
different right here in all these sections, every section of Florida. I this is what I've been looking at for years since I've been down here. I'm saying, and it's not being racist, it's being a fact. When you look at certain things like, okay, I was on employment 2018 or something like that, and they had construction, they had training. What was offered to me was Microsoft. was for Microsoft, Microsoft products, right? Whatever, the Microsoft Office products, and things like a truck driver. I can go for other things like networking. So they pay for it, blah blah blah, right? Training, but then for the carpentry type work, for example, painting, building roofs, electrician, AC, stuff like that, construction, to do with construction, you had to be a household member. You didn't even have to be that member. You could be in the household of somebody who worked in the the strawberry fields or something like that in the agricultural labor area. If you were just a family member of theirs, that was access. You had access to that training, and you see it right now. That was something that a lot of people won't remember this unless you're like real old. And I don't want to date myself, but yeah.
Unless you're like real
go ahead, laugh. Get that in the late '70s, when Jimmy Carter was president, he took over. He started this thing called the bricklayer program, and you got the training to be an electrician, to be a painter, to be a bricklayer, to build in construction. You got all this. You got this training. You got that training. And, that only thing you need to do was just go there. But when Ronald Reagan came in, he got rid of that program. It was a bricklayer program. You hear about the Habitat for Humanity?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jimmy Carter, right?
That's Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. So he did it privately. He was doing it privately, right? Having people come in and build houses and stuff like that. The reason behind, I don't know, the rationale behind, or the idea behind it, of how the people or the employees, the people who were going to build them, I think it was supposed to be like somebody who had a vested interest in it or something. Mm-hmm. Like it was, they're working to help build their house. So that's how it was. Fast forward, like I said, like 5 years ago, I couldn't. That wasn't available to me. That wasn't available to me, an American, a Floridian. Now I'm a Floridian for nearly a decade, for a decade, I'm a Floridian, and that's not available to me. That wasn't available to Americans. That wasn't even available to second generation people who were of Mexican or South American descent. That was happening right here. I mean, they've changed it up a lot. They've changed it up a lot, right? And so, but yeah, that's how it was. That's the conservatives. The conservatives came in because that's what Ronald Reagan was. He came in and he did that. He crashed the system. Why? Because he was basically against Americans. He was. And I like Ronald Reagan. Don't get me wrong. I like Ronald Reagan. I like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was cool.
And those are strong words, though. Saying Ronald Reagan was against Americans. Hey, Rob's here.
What he did, his policies, was against.
Come on in, Rob.
Are you coming? Hold up, man. Where's your late pass at, dude? He said, he called me up and said, Keith, I will be there. Just be careful of the sound. We got real Rob over here. The real Rob. We got the real Rob.
The real Rob.
The rest, I don't know who the other Robs y'all got, but we got the real Rob. What's up, Mr. R. Forward?
Check. 1 2 1 2.
That sound check, dog.
Can you hear yourself? Everything good? Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, you
All
good?
right, all right.
All right, we got the real Rob. Nice to see you, my man. All right. So we was just talking about things.
We were talking about
We were talking about
things.
things. Talking about things.
He was basically talking about Ronald Reagan. Right?
Ronald,
Keep you on track
I
here.
like Ronald Reagan, but here's the deal. Ronald Reagan, when you hear those people in the media, they go, "Oh yeah, the transfer of wealth is the biggest transfer of wealth." Well, that's what it was. Those tax breaks that he gave to the very rich with the trickle down economics, that's what it was. That was the problem. It blew the national debt out. That's where the national debt began, under Ronald Reagan and conservatives. To give you an idea, when we had the Great Depression, when FDR took over, the national debt was building up to over $3.5 trillion. That was in the 1940, beginning of the 1940s. Right? Then it started to build down. It started to come down. When FDR started to implement all those rules, the guidelines and regulations, to build a nation. The government put the money invested into the nation, into the regular people, into the middle class. The country started doing good, and it dropped from $3.5 trillion to over $3.5 trillion down to like around $2.5 trillion under the second term of Eisenhower. So that was who? Samuel Jackson, I think was Eisenhower's. FDR's.
Samuel Jackson.
No, not Samuel Jackson. Who was
The guy from Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you, man. I'm not talking. What was his name? Samuel. FDR vice president, last vice, because he had 3 vice presidents. He had 3.
Eisenhower.
No, Eisenhower was before him.
I want to say Samuel.
Eisenhower
Adams,
was.
but I don't know.
Eisenhower followed FDR.
Eisenhower followed. No, Eisenhower. There was 4 years in there.
Yeah. I said Adams. I don't know.
Adams.
Samuel Adams. Who's
I don't know
that?
who the hell that is.
Samuel
That sounds
Adams.
familiar.
It's a beer.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, that is familiar.
It's a very good beer, though. It's a very good beer, though. FDR.
So what's the question now? You want to know who FDR's vice president was?
Yeah,
Oh.
second vice president.
Do we? Yeah, I don't know.
Was it?
Here, you talk. I'll research.
All right, you research. I was his last vice president. I wasn't his second. I think he had 3 vice presidents. So give me the third vice president.
Harry Truman.
Harry Truman.
Yeah.
Harry Truman.
That's not Samuel Jackson.
That's not even close.
Or
Okay.
Samuel Adams.
When did you come in here, man? Somebody get robbed. Harry Truman. Harry Truman is from FDR's second term through Harry Truman through Eisenhower's first term. It dropped from $3.5 trillion, over $3.5 trillion to $2.5 trillion. From that time with JFK and who was his
Lyndon Johnson.
Johnson, JFK, through the JFK Johnson presidency. Of course, JFK was assassinated and Johnson took over, and then Johnson had his own full term. From there through who came after
Nixon.
him? Nixon, right? Nixon, and then Nixon, Ford. Nixon, Ford. Then
Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Right? It was around $2.5 trillion for like 28 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For like 20,
Only.
24 years.
Only.
Only $2.5 trillion. Yeah, but that's like your household budget.
Yeah.
You're gonna spend X amount of money every month, right? You're gonna spend X amount of money every week, and at the end of the month, you're gonna spend X amount of money. That's the household budget. So the household budget, the national budget, was $2.5 trillion for like 28 years until Ronald Reagan came in and he introduced those tax breaks and Reaganomics. Reaganomics is what? Trickle down economics, which was what? The greatest transfer of wealth, the first greatest transfer of wealth in our nation's history. And then the national debt started to just
And
escalate.
Yeah.
It went up, I think Ronald Reagan added like $800 billion to the national debt. Then George W. Bush, father, was his vice president, Ronald Reagan vice president. Then he became president for 4 years. He added another like crazy amount, $700 billion, maybe $1 trillion, and that so when Bill Clinton came in, right, that was conservatism.
Yeah.
That was conservatism. They just ran amok. Matter of fact, I believe that the only reason why George H.W. Bush didn't win was because he said, read my lips, I won't raise taxes. But then he realized you had to raise taxes to balance out the budget. And so when he said, I have to raise taxes, that was it. They just turned on him. And they let, Bill Clinton come in. They figured they could, they could control him. But Bill Clinton was like, nah, dude, I'm the man now. I'm the man now. And that's what he did. And the budget was finally balanced. It didn't drop down to that $2.5 trillion, but it did. But it balanced out. It wasn't going out of control. It wasn't spiraling out of control again until
dun dun dun
the next conservative president, George W. Bush. Thank you. Right, and he added how many trillions of dollars? He added about what, 5 or 6 trillion, maybe $7 trillion. And you gotta think about this. This was a lag over. When they talk about Obama adding whatever $7 trillion, well, that most of that money was trying to balance out the budget that George Bush added. So all that money went against George Bush. That first $2-3 trillion went against George Bush. Okay, Barack Obama balanced it out. Handed Donald Trump the best economy, the greatest economy in our history. In our history. Look it up. Right? Unemployment dropped down. Everything. We were hemorrhaging. Under George Bush, we were hemorrhaging. And in Barack Obama's first year, we were hemorrhaging. When I say hemorrhaging, we're talking about 200,000-300,000 jobs a freaking month. That was crazy, right? It's crazy, right? So we was hemorrhaging jobs. Then we started building the jobs back up. Donald Trump took over, same thing. He passed those ridiculous tax breaks like Ronald Reagan and like George Bush, and people say it's the COVID. It wasn't just the COVID. It was the fact that those tax breaks were not.
Sorry, I didn't have an explosion.
Okay, give me another one. All right, I don't know how to fit that in there. Can they hear
it's
this?
It's a record scratch.
Can they hear the scratch?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear it.
All right.
How about that?
No. What's that? There we go. We on the dun. Okay. Where we at? Oh yeah, and added. No, I was going to say. I was mistaken. I was about to say $4 trillion. No, he added $7.8 trillion to the national debt in one term. No, give me $7.8 trillion. He added $8 trillion in 4 flipping years. What the hell was that? And people say this guy is so great. Oh, he's so great. I gotta no, he didn't. He's the Roger Dangerfield. But I like Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, here's why I like Donald Trump. I'm gonna tell you why I like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is so slick talking. He's a con man. You guys, again, they're not going to remember what I'm about to say. There's a guy named W.C. Fields.
I remember W.C. Fields.
W.C. Fields, right? The older people know. He was a suckers born every day, right? That was him. Here's the suckers, right? He comes out and he plays a race card against the black woman, against the black lawyer, attorney general, the New York State attorney general. He plays a race card. Oh, woe's me. Oh, woe's me. She's racist. She got a problem with rich white men. She's coming up the rich one. What the hell are you talking about? You coming up the rich one. Oh, no, she's a racist. I mean, he's the victim. He's the victim. And I don't know if you guys have been following the trial, right?
Yeah.
You've been following the trial? Yeah. Did you hear about him yesterday?
I saw him. I saw he said she was a racist, and she was just like,
Oh no, he's been saying that for a while. Yeah. But did you hear what he said in the trial? No? Okay.
Probably.
The judge, first of all, he's going after the judge. The judge says, you know what, I'm not here to listen to what you got to say, as far as the trial itself. No, because that's done. That's over with. You are liable, okay? You are liable to pay money. It's not a question whether or not you're liable. You've already lost that part, all right? And that's what they're arguing. Right? They've already lost that part. Here's what the deal is. So the judge says, you know what? I'm not here to hear what that got to say. I want to hear what you got to say to persuade me from not saying, okay, here's a blank checkbook. Here's a blank checkbook for the Attorney General for New York State. That's what this trial is all about. But he can't say things because this trial is one of those trials that whatever you say can be held against you in the state of law.
In other trials, even.
In other trials. What kind of trials? Criminal trials.
Criminal trials.
So that's why he pleaded guilty 300 plus times. And why he didn't plead guilty? I saw that. He just said he pleaded the fifth. Yeah, but 2016, 2015, 2016, when Hillary Clinton was somebody who was working for her, right, pleaded the fifth, said, I plead the fifth, nope, self-incrimination, right? He said, hold up. Only criminals, gangsters, plead the fifth. Only guilty people plead the fifth. His words, right? Now fast forward, 2020. What was this thing?
That was a long time ago. We forgot. He was hoping everybody forgot.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
Well, we did forget. A lot of us, some of us didn't forget, right? And we're gonna refresh your memory. So here we are in 2023, because that's when they had the deposition at the beginning of this year. 2023, he pleads the fifth over 300 times. He takes the fifth plea. He took the fifth over 300 times in a civil trial. Now, mind you, civil trial don't mean you go to jail. Civil trial just means that it's going to be money. It's whether you did something that you owe money for. That's a civil trial. You're not going to jail. But things that you say in the civil trial can be used in the criminal trial. You
Which is why he pleaded the fifth.
Which is why he copped the fifth over 300 times, and he's not answering the questions on the as of yesterday when he took the stand. He didn't answer the questions. He kept rambling on about this and this and this and that. He's not answering the questions. Why? Because what he say can and will be held against him if it goes, if it's something that, if it's admission to some criminality that he engaged in, right? Because think about it. You're thinking about, the inflated prices. But what goes along with those inflated prices? Tax evasion. Come on, let it soak in. Let it soak in. No, give me some. One of those things where you make, where I be thinking all the time.
Oh yeah,
You took it out?
I lost some of those.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm working on.
Okay, get that one back. Get that one back. Okay.
Jeopardy.
Yeah. For the Jeopardy sound. Yeah. All right. Pretend this is Jeopardy sound. Boom, you got it. That's criminal. That's criminal. Admitting that he knew about this stuff, that he was in charge, that he was running it, is admission to a felony. Felonies. Billions of dollars worth of felonies. Felonies, right? Billions of dollars. All right? That's why he's carrying on the way he's carrying on. So that being the case, that's why I asked you if you guys was following what's going on, because a lot of people just think it's about civil thing. No, it's not. It's about possibility of this information being used in a federal trial, criminal trial, right? But he's an idiot. he's an idiot. And here's why. I tell you, I like this guy, but he's a moron. And here's why I'm gonna say he's a moron. We're gonna talk.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
We're gonna talk tri-state. We're gonna talk tri-state, Brooklyn, New York. We're gonna talk New York talk, right? All right.
He's a freaking idiot.
He's a freaking idiot. Moron. He's a moron. And here's why. I'm gonna tell you why. Here's why. He goes, okay, Mar-a-Lago, right? He's over here saying Mar-a-Lago is worth 100 times more than what the assessor says.
So why weren't you taxed on it then
Okay.
for that amount?
but apparently he went and told the tax assessors, no, it's not worth $28 million. It's only worth $11 million. It was 18 to $28 million. That's what they gave
Which is
the assessment.
absurd. Which is absurd. That property is worth. He's right. It's worth way more than that.
Is it worth $2.5 billion?
I mean, it's probably worth a lot. I don't know about
Maybe let's say 100,000, 100 million.
100 million.
100 million, but nowhere near a billion plus, right?
I don't know. It's quite a property. I understand.
So if that's true, and he knew it was worth that much, which is what he went to the banks, why did you go to the tax assessor and say no? It wasn't
How
worth
much
that
did he
much?
pay for it?
Well, he didn't pay.
It could be worth
He
more.
didn't pay as much as he claimed it was. No. I get what I totally get what you're saying.
It
Totally
could be worth more. And
That's
he paid
called
less.
that's called appreciation. That's called appreciation, right? You buy a property over a number X amount of whatever time, it increases in value. That's called appreciation, right? And it's probably like you said, like Big John said, that it's probably worth more than that. Maybe 40,000. Maybe 40 million, 50 million. But he said no. When it came to doing the taxes, no, it's not worth that much. It's worth less than what they said. You see where it's going? And now here's the moronic thing. You told the tax people that it's worth this much. You went to the banks and said it's worth that much. Okay.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Let me
And
ask
if,
you a question. So, I bought a car. The car was $10,000 like 3 years ago. Now the car is worth way less. But if I was to sell that car to a dealership, they would pay me less, but they would sell it for more.
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah, I know.
it's like,
flipping.
you know what I'm trying to say?
They're
So
gonna
it's
flip
like,
and sell.
it is worth more than what it is. Unless I sell it, then
Yeah.
it's going to be less than what it really is.
No, it depends on who you sell it to. Because you could say, if it's in good shape, and you say, okay, yo, all right, if I sell it to a dealer,
I'm not going to sell it for $10,000. It's not going to be sold for $10,000.
Yeah, but the
I'm
dealer,
probably going to get less
Cars,
than half.
cars depreciate differently
Yeah,
than
unless
houses.
they hit the sales floor
Okay.
of an auto shop
Okay.
or something, or a car dealer.
2, maybe 3 things. 2, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking appreciation, depreciation. Land, estate is different than items. Than items. A classic car, a car may be worth whatever, $10,000 a day. It's one of those rare cars. 30 years from now, it may go up to say an auction and go and they say, whoa, never seen this car. Well, let's bid on it, and they might
Unless
pull
it's,
in
if it's a DeLorean or something.
or DeLorean. Forget
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
They put what?
Did you
20
see that? Not to break the subject here, but I saw that there was a DeLorean that was found in a barn.
Yes,
Did you see that?
Yes.
And it had
What-
mice in it.
Oh,
you have
I would still take it.
Yeah.
you have vehicles like that that are stuck away, and they find them, they fix them up, and they sell them. They put them on auction. They bought it was worth whatever, $5,000, $8,000. 40 years ago,
Yeah.
50 years ago. DeLorean?
Yeah.
In the 80s, that's the 70s, right? Beginning of 70s, 80s.
80s, yeah.
So that's that vehicle now, if they put it for auction, they're probably $200,000.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
But as it goes today, the cars of today, once you leave off that lot, you could have paid $30,000 cash. Once you leave off that lot, that car is no longer worth $30,000. It is worth considerably less. Maybe what, $6,000
Yeah,
less.
immediately.
As soon as you drive off that lot, it drops down, just like that.
You know what's crazy? So I seen a car. It came out in the '90s. This car is worth $30,000 right now, but on the Kelly Blue Book it's like $5,000.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And they sold the Nissan Skyline. They just sold one for $500,000, and it was from the '90s.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying, right?
So
It depends on the vehicle, but that's not the norm. That's not the norm, right? So I get what you're saying. Appreciation, depreciation. That's why I gave you the example of the
DeLorean.
fancy cars, the DeLorean, as opposed in the new car buying it off the lot, walking and losing the value. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If you get a used car, that used car, you may pay $5,000 for that used car. When you drive off the lot, you're not gonna get $5,000 for that car. That car's gonna be worth maybe $3,000. They're gonna want to give you $3,000. You know.
But I think it's the same
40%.
like land and cars because I had a neighbor. She had
the land and cars is different because land.
She lost value on her house because she had what you call a sinkhole.
Oh,
wow.
So that depreciated it.
Okay,
but then
here's the thing.
she fixed it, and then like the business started booming around her area. Then the price went even higher than what it was.
And that's the difference.
You know what I'm saying?
It's called, when you want to buy a house, it's location, location, location. That's what matters. Location, location, location. Because if you went over here south of I-4, if you went over here on the north or south, what is it? I don't know what that is. The north. Tampa's on this side, on the opposite side of I-4. Over there, if you went over there, whatever, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you could probably get a house over there for $50,000.
not anymore.
$50,000, $70,000. That same location, those same bungalow type houses, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Just like that, gentrification.
Yep.
So
You think that's
location, location, location. But let me get back. Let me finish off this, and we can go.
Okay.
We could just flip to that. Let me wrap this up with this thing, because we can finish the thing with Trump later. As it stands right now, dude got 91 indictments, right? And he's still over here blowing the thing out. He needs to either do one or two things. Just shut up or don't go to the court. Because once you go into that court, he says ridiculous, moronic things. Why? They're telling you that, look, that this is already against you. This has already been ruled against you. You're going to pay money, and you're telling them that your values is billions of dollars. So that means that the money that he made, right, increased. So now the Attorney General can just say, you know what? He made $3 billion off of this. It was going to be it's going to be $250 million, right? But we believe that in excess of all the stuff that he made, that we should get $2.5 billion. Like he said, property's worth 100 times more. We're saying 10 times more. That's all we want. So that's the Trump thing. Okay? That's why I say he's a moron. The guy needs to just shut up, keep your mouth shut, man. But he can't, because he's running a political campaign. And how far will that be able to run? How far will that be able to run? Because when he goes into criminal trial, because we're not in remember, this is civil. This is civil right now. E. Jean Carroll was civil. This is civil. He has pending in New York State, he has pending federal charges, criminal charges. In Washington, D.C., he has federal charges. In Georgia, he has federal charges. Sorry, in New York, they're waiting until the civil trial is over before they decide to go forward for criminal prosecution against Donald Trump.
He'll probably be president before that happens.
No.
To be honest, he'll pardon himself. He probably could pardon himself.
There's a lot of things. Is people try to they oversimplify it. They oversimplify. No, they really oversimplify. I get it. You really love Donald Trump, right? I know you just cool with the idea. No, thank you for the thought. Here's the deal. It's a lot more complicated than that, because he's saying I could pardon myself, dude.
I don't know if he can. I'm asking you.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think people realize, in the Midwest, there are states in the Midwest, they're trying to get him off the ballot, period, for being part of an insurrection. Oh, he was never convicted. That's not what it says. If you take part of an insurrection, it doesn't say if you are convicted. And that's what I was talking about earlier with the Civil War, right? As we were talking about earlier, that was going to be my segue into it.
So do they want to take him off the ballot because of criminal charges, or do they want to take him off the ballot because he might just win over there? Because they think they're gonna. If he's gonna lose, they shouldn't be worried.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
because of taking part of an insurrection.
But if he's gonna, if the people are voting for him, they have nothing. They can't.
If you
Mm-hmm.
take part in insurrection, they can prohibit you from moving forward with that. You don't have to be convicted, but if you are, and you can double check this. If you are judged to have taken part in the insurrection, they can block you from the ballot, so you're not going to be on the ballot. So saying all that.
Didn't he try to do that to what's his name, Joe? Didn't he try to do something like that? And they were like, that's not fair, because he's like, oh, you stole the election. So that would be the same thing he tried to do. They're trying to do it, but for a different reason.
It's two
That's
different.
how I see it. It's not really fair.
I hear you,
And
but
they said it wasn't fair.
but
So
it's
now
two-
it's like, now they're just contradicting themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they're worried about the people voting for him, which they probably shouldn't, if they feel, especially in the Midwest, they probably shouldn't even have to worry about that.
I hear what you're saying, but here's the thing with that. The thing with that trend of thought is that it flies in the face of the facts of what's really going on. I mean, saying that Joe Biden didn't win the election when we all know he won the election, right, is one thing, right? Saying it is one thing.
Yeah.
But that's not why he's in all this hot water. He's in this hot water because he conspired to overthrow an election.
That's the same thing he was saying about him, but for different reasons.
No, he said this about, but that wasn't true. He is being accused of engaging in racketeering in Georgia. Why? Because he went to try and put the pressure like a gangster, like mob. When I say mob, I mean organized criminals would do. Hey, buddy, go over there and you talk to them. Hey, this is what I want you to do, all right? I want you to rethink what you're thinking, what you thought. I want you to overdo. I want you to turn around what you did. That's what I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Just redo it, right? Just redo the numbers, okay? That's gangster. That's racketeering. You don't have to be directed in it, and be implemented just because you know about part of it. You know what I'm saying? If you're part of that group, and that's basically, he was the leader because he started that stuff off. That's racket. That's so I'm just saying that's different. That's a whole different trial from what he's doing in Washington. Washington is because that action on January 6th was considered insurrection. He took part of that insurrection because he was a speaker, right? He literally sent them down there. So he took part of that. And him taking part of that made him culpable for it.
So I got a question for you.
And if when you apply the 14th Amendment, right? 14th Amendment, Section 3 is so that is to prevent people like after the Civil War. That's what brought this amendment about. That's what it brought that section about. That if you participate in an insurrection, because that's what the Civil War was an insurrection. If you participate in it in any fashion, you can be barred from holding federal office. Federal office, what's federal office? The presidency is part of federal office. Congress members, senators, House members, senators, judges, those are federal positions. You can be barred from holding those positions.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
It's a two-part.
I hope I can answer one of them.
So,
go ahead.
And they go together, kind of.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
So as far as
we only got a few minutes.
As far as Trump or DeSantis, who would you rather pick? And I got another one right after that. It's basically for the other side too. Who would you rather pick if you had to pick one?
Neither.
All right, so
you have to pick one.
You have to pick one.
You have to pick one.
No.
It's got to be interesting.
No.
So then all right. So then other than so you want. So who else would you pick other than Joe?
What?
Who else would you pick for their party? Who else would you rather pick?
For what? The Republican Party?
Yeah, to be running for election and running for the.
I would have to
Trump.
say if I was
or DeSantis.
You're saying to win
To
the
win.
nomination.
Do you want Joe to stay in office, or do you want a new?
Stop. You mean to win the nomination in the Republican Party?
Yeah.
Who I would?
Yeah,
I would say Christie. I would say Christie.
Yeah. Pick the Jersey guy. Yeah.
Hey, don't try to make it sound like I'm being biased.
Oh, so Christie versus who? Trump or DeSantis? Who does he win against?
You just said.
Who does he win against?
No, you just said.
Well, who?
I said to win it all.
Oh, to win it all.
If I was going to have a choice, I would pick.
But
Christie.
if Christie loses and then it's just Trump or DeSantis, who would you want to win?
I don't want either one of them to win. I don't even want them to win. I don't. I really don't because I don't.
If you had to pick one.
One is a sociopath.
He's gonna move to Canada.
Yeah, one is a sociopath. I ain't
Never moved to Canada.
One is a sociopath. The other one's a knucklehead. They're both. Donald Trump is dangerous. Period. Ron DeSantis is just as dangerous as we see in Florida. He's just as dangerous because people can say whatever they want, right?
He's a vet, though. He's a vet,
Hey,
right?
please, don't come on. You give him too much.
My dad's a vet.
You give him too much credit. When you look at Ron DeSantis, here's the deal. He's one of those sassy guys that'll throw the rock and stuff like that and try to hide his hands. And when he thinks he's got the support, then he's gonna get up and pump his chest out. Boom! Yeah, yeah. But then he's gonna, he's not that guy. He's not that guy. If he didn't have the majority rule, if he didn't stack the deck, right, then he would be winning. He's talking about Joe Biden. Where you at? He's missing in action. He's missing in action right here. The job rate is going up crazy. COVID is rising again.
I hope not.
Home ownership, the prices are going crazy right now. Yeah. Right? They're pricing people out. Not only that, you have the homeowners insurance companies leaving, and the ones that are here are overpricing home insurance. It's triple the national average. Inflation here is like 2 to 3 times the national average. So when you ask me who would I choose, I'm looking at the two of them, and I'm saying neither one of them are good for this country. Period. Neither one of them. They are just not good for this country. They're not. They're not.
So I'm gonna say one thing before you close up. I know you're gonna.
Oh, you want the last one?
I wanted to say no.
Good.
I'm gonna say, all I want next year is no craziness. I don't care what group it is. I don't want a bunch of groups.
No
out
drama.
there. Yeah, no chaos like before 4 years ago or whatever. That's ridiculous.
Here's the thing.
That has to stop. That has to stop. No matter who, hopefully the best man wins. That's going to do good for the country. It doesn't matter who it is. But
hopefully the results will be respected.
Yeah. And no more crazy
Not
people
questioned.
burning people's businesses down. That needs to stop. And people talking about all these crazy stuff. That needs to stop.
Okay.
I think so. Okay. As an American, I'm speaking.
As an American, okay.
Yeah.
I won't say speaking as an American, okay.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. But here's the thing. When you got half of the electorate who thinks the opposite of what you just said, who says, oh, no, if we don't control it, regardless whether you got control, that's like somebody coming in your house.
I'm saying I don't want no chaos.
No.
Yeah.
You don't want chaos, then you got to stop putting people who create the chaos, people who create the chaos in those positions where they can create chaos. You got 10 days.
I think everybody's hands is dirty on both sides. To be honest, if you're gonna be honest,
I hear what you're saying.
You're gonna speak righteously.
That's a talking point. But I'm gonna be clear about this. How long we got?
15 seconds.
15 seconds. We're gonna wrap this up. I'll keep this be the B-roll. I got my man Big John C over here. I got Roddy Rob come up in this pace just to stir things up at the very end. Hey. All right, we good. This is the B-roll. All right, I'll be Keith. That'll be good.